So I'm with Michael Sullivan. This is Workweek Radio, and Michael is with SAG-AFTRA and Actors Equity. Michael, you gave a speech today about war and the ruling class in this country. What were you saying to working people now facing the Trump administration who may lead us into a world war?
Well, I think the most important thing is a class consciousness. You know, most people still are so ashamed of saying that they're in the working class. There is no such thing as middle class. Middle class is an invention by the ruling class to divide the workers, to make you think, oh, yeah, that's bad. That's, you know, you don't want to be a worker. You have no aspirations if you're a worker. You're just lowly. And so that's made people feel ashamed. And so get the workers divided amongst themselves, and they're busy trying to crawl up or kick somebody else down. The most important thing we need is an actual class consciousness, so that people can be proud of living off of the sweat and brain power that they create, rather than aspiring to be a capitalist, which is just somebody who makes a living off of somebody else's labor and sweat. You should be ashamed of that. That's not something to want to be. That's a parasite you squish. And so trying to help people understand that we need to have that pride, and we need to be actively progressive, not passively progressive. As I said in the speech, too many people go home and they talk to their families, and their families say, well, we don't talk about politics. And we accept that as progressives. But then there'll be that right-wing person in the party who's always saying, they're talking about Trump. They're saying bad stuff about progressivism. They're saying bad stuff about all of this crazy, wacko conspiracy theories, and we don't challenge them. We don't challenge them because we're being polite. We need to stop that.
Now, in the unions supported Hillary Clinton and the Democrats, and there wasn't really a Democratic vote of the rank and file. Many supported Bernie Sanders. Yet Obama's record rather, as far as war, militarization, the drones, they wanted to surround Russia. Isn't that the problem in this country, that we don't have a political choice? I mean, the Democrats and Republicans really have the same agenda, economically and worldwide?
Well, part of it is that one thing we have to remember is that inside the Democratic Party, the largest caucus, as I still understand it in Congress, is still the Progressive Caucus inside the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party was taken over by the Democratic Leadership Council, which was basically the idea of triangulation. If we take conservative positions, that will undermine the conservatives. What it did was it shifted everything farther to the right. We need to take back, since we don't have a Labor Party.
Well, are you in favor of a Labor Party?
Yeah. We need a Labor Party. We need not that British Labor Party, which is made up of millionaires, as it turns out. The Democratic Party is our best shot, but we need to take it over. We need to stop accepting. Better to fight than to compromise. This is an important point. You should never compromise on your ethics. First of all, if you're willing to compromise on your ethics, that means you don't have any. But also, you should never compromise on something that you know is good and accept some little piece of crap that somebody's going to put in it. You should never meet your opposition halfway with their terrible idea, which now makes your good idea terrible. You need to be willing to go down fighting. You need to fight but also you won't. Because if you fight, that will inspire people to join you. But if you always look like you're an obsequious slave to the other side, if you always look like you're making speeches to Goldman Sachs, if you always look like you're trying to balance out what's going on for the ruling class and the people, especially politicians. A politician works for the people. They're not supposed to balance anything. They are our representatives. And as long as politicians can get away with the idea of equally representing Wall Street and the people, well, Wall Street has a Chamber of Commerce. Wall Street has lawyers. They have people who only work for them.
One of the things is culture, working class culture, and the Mime Troupe has tried to provide theatrical, art, culture. What do you think about the labor movement putting more support for culture and the arts? I know that you tried to have a national tour of some of your productions, and that labor needs to invest in culture and arts to really win over in a popular way the working people and the mass of working people.
Well, yes. Unfortunately, many of the leadership of the labor movement have completely, as much as they might go, oh, remember the good old days with Woody Guthrie and having labor out there and unions. And then when it comes to, okay, well, you're a union and these are union performers. And it's like, well, why aren't you part of making sure that that art is used? The unions could put money and time and effort into helping union members who are doing stuff. because meetings
It's
just
like
aren't
it's like
exciting.
it's like pulling teeth to get support, though, isn't it?
Well, I mean, like some of the labor councils are incredibly supportive, but they wanted to bring out the Mime Troupe show. We had a whole show that was about worker ownership of the workplace,
Also, privatization of education.
privatization of education, and the local labor councils were very excited about it. But the upper echelons make different decisions as to where to put the money, and they're like, well, we don't want to put our money towards doing something that's both entertaining, inspiring, and arguing the points that we agree with. We'd rather take that money and give it to some politician who may or may not vote our way. There's so many other ways, and the unions, I think, have been overly careful and have forgotten how to inspire people. You inspire more people by doing a concert, and having some people come out. When was the last time there was a big union concert? When was the last time the union just said, damn it, Joan Baez, can you come and sing for 100,000 people? And
Or Bruce
Springsteen, or Rage Against the Machine. They're not around anymore, but they did actually.
Tom Morello. But there are a lot of artists now who are very angry and are ready to.
But will the unions decide we should do that because it's entertaining and it's inspiring, and instead of just taking the money and giving it to politicians? You want to give the money to the voters. You want to get the inspiration to the voters. You want to find a way to get them to participate. And if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But a mistake has been to focus on top people talking to top people, and then us taking the workers for granted. And if you want them to show up, you make it something that they can show up to, that will be inspiring, informational, educational, entertaining, and then you get them all leaving going, yes, power to the people. Otherwise, you just get like 8 guys smoking cigars in a room, and they all leave going, yeah, power to the people,
Now, today, the longshoremen, ILW Local 10, walked out. They shut down the Bay Area 9 ports. Is that the kind of thing we need in response to what's coming down in this country?
Absolutely. One of the great victories of the right and the conservatives and the neo-libs has been to convince us that all of our tools are useless. Boycotts, strikes. Every time somebody declares a boycott or a strike, there's always going to be somebody who will say, oh, those things never work. If they didn't work, they wouldn't try to stop us from doing them. They wouldn't waste their time trying to argue against it. They argue against them because they know they work. And we have to be willing to do all of that. We have to be willing to boycott, strike, blockade, and not only protest. We need to take actions. Protests are wonderful and great and inspiring, but they can also, especially in a city like San Francisco, of course there's going to be a protest here. We need to do things. We need to hit them in the pocketbook. We need to threaten their way of life. We need to ultimately get rid of them. We don't need.
Talking about the billionaires?
Yeah, I'm saying that basically we don't need them. We as a nation don't need them. Why did we get one as a president? It's not the first time that sort of thing has happened, but we need to make sure that we understand our real power. We say we're the 99%, but then we don't do anything about it. Numerically, we're correct. Yippee. What we need to do is act like we're in charge and stop asking people. I'm not going to sign another damn petition that's going to be sent to somebody like Paul Ryan or somebody like that I disagree with. That petition means nothing. It means nothing to them. They will crumple it up and throw it away. It is a waste of our time to ask people to please don't kill us. Please don't impoverish us. Please don't do this. They don't care. What a weird, twisted little feel-good thing we do to sign some meaningless petition to, like, if you want to sign a petition to one of your local elected officials, great. But don't send it to somebody who you didn't even vote for. They're not even in your district. They don't care. Us saying, Trump, we're not going to take this anymore. Well, he's in power. Your chant is impotent. Don't do feel-good, impotent actions. Try to do actual things.
On the upcoming theater and cultural struggle that's going on in this country is going to be a big one.
Yeah.
I don't think they believe in culture.
Money and profit. So yeah, what's the Mime Troupe going to do? We're setting up to do our next show. I'm working with another theater company of doing a labor activist version of Christmas Carol called Red Carol, which I'm sending out to theater companies around the country now. And we're also going to release a bunch of Mime Troupe shows for free as the scripts, so that educators can get them to read them and say, this is modern activist art. You don't have to read something from the 30s. You don't have to read something from France. This is what we knew. These are the arguments we need to make, and this is a way to make them.